Alright, so we are live.
We're back at it, back by popular demand, with your co-host, Linus Lawrence. You know him, you love him. I am Clyde Lawrence of Lawrence the Band, and we are here with round 2 of tutorials of the songs off of Living Room. Last time we did Probably Up, More, the Heartburn song. I think that was it. And then we did Hot in Here and Get Busy, our covers. People seem to enjoy it. I got a lot of people hitting us up on DMs asking about other songs and asking other questions. So because we leave for Europe tomorrow, and it's going to be hard to do this while we're in Europe, thought it would be cool to get another round in of a couple other songs and any other questions that you have for me or Linus. So before we kick it off with a song, I got some really good questions on this thing here. Someone was asking a lot about my Nord and how I use my keyboard. That was a really popular question on the last video. So if you want to look at the last video, I go super in depth on, or not super in depth, but I go a little broad strokes on what's going on with my keyboard. But basically, just to give a 1-minute tutorial on how I use my keyboard to kick it off, is I have basically a set of basic sounds. So I have my clav sound, my Rhodes sound, my piano sound. So here's a little bit of the Rhodes. Let me make that a little louder. I have piano. I have clav. And then I basically have an organ that I layer in over any of those sounds with a volume pedal that I have down here. So, like, I actually don't have it set up to do this. Oh, yeah, I do. What am I talking about? So, like, check this out. So, like, I'm holding in a note, and then this pedal controls the volume. I don't know if you can see there that light is changing. Ba-boom, ba-boom. There we go. Close up. So, like, I'm playing and I can go, like... That's like our live sound, is like me doing a lot of that kind of... And it allows me to kind of...
that pedal down there.
Yeah, this pedal down here hooks into the control pedal slot, and you can have this pedal do anything. You can have this do stuff too. Like, what's cool about the Nord is you can morph assign any of these different things to control any parameter. So, like, I could have it so that this pedal kicks this on and does 10 other things at the same time. I can have it do whatever I want. So, you know, I'm really just out here trying to get a Nord sponsorship, so I can't say enough good stuff about them. But anyway, let's get into a song. We got a lot of people requesting Try. We also got a lot of people requesting Too Easy and Almost Grown. So maybe I'll go through about, what do you want me to start with, Linus?
Start with Try.
All right, we're going to start with Try. Try has some serious stuff going on. So... we'll get into that. So basically, we start with this crazy intro, which I'm really in love with, like, major 9 chords, so we're in the key of A flat. So, if you think about a major 9 chord, that would be like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and I like to voice them with the 9 lower, so I voice it like 9, 3, 5, 7, and then put this in the bass. So I'm like really into that kind of chord, and the whole intro of this song is just like major 9 chords starting on the A major 9, which is, I know, a very bizarre move when we're in A flat major, but it's that and then just going all the way backwards in fourths. So like if you think backwards in fourths, A, E, B, F sharp, C sharp, and then we land finally on the 1. So like all the way down. So that's the same exact voicing. And then it does all the like, you know. So that's the intro with the vocoder and everything. And then we get to the verse. We could have done it. That's just the 1 major 7, A flat major 7. Girl, we nearly had it made. So that's 2, 5, 1 to the 6. So that's G minor 7, whatever you want to call that, C augmented 7 or C sharp, C7 sharp 5. Had it made. F minor 7. So it's really just had it made. And then, so that's from that same F minor 7, then through the A flat over E flat, and then 4 chord D flat major with the added 1, or with the added 9 of that, and then the guitars go, which is just 2 minor 1, 2 minor 1, 3-part harmony. People ask how we got those to sound so cool in the record. It's actually 3 different guitars. It's like one guitar going, and another one going, and then another one going. So it's kind of like, what it really is like, we were able to like get the right vibrato going on each part and really like, yeah, so that's a cool one. So don't try to play that all at once and have it sound as cool as it does on the album. But you can very easily play it all at once and it'll sound kind of cool. So anyway, verse. We could have done it. Girl, we nearly had it made. So 1 A flat major 7. A flat major 7. G minor 7. C7 with an augmented to the F minor 7. Ba, 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 da, da, da. Same thing again. Couldn't cut it. Don't you are a hand grenade. And then same thing. F minor 7. A flat major 7 over E flat. Same thing. Then the 4. And that descending line is just starting on the 2 and just going down the major scale. So those chords there are, who is it you want me to say? So it's 2 minor 7, B flat minor 7, want me to. So that's C. For anyone who was here at the last thing, this is what we're going to call an A flat add 9 over C. But just as a review of it, it's one of my favorite chords. It's got the 3 in the bass and then the 2, 5, 1 in the right hand. And this is one of my favorite chords, and it's really the essence of this song, Try. Like, the whole song is all about this chord, where you're kind of on this 3 and you're like, are we on the 1 chord? Are we resolved? Or are we kind of still suspended in midair? It's the same chord that we use at the beginning of More, if you watch our last tutorial video. What is it you want me to say? So now we're into the chorus, and we've got these back and forth chords that make up this whole song. So we've got, that's C sharp major 7. That's how I'm voicing it. And then that same chord, that A flat add 9 over C. Then B flat minor 7. And then back. just seesaw back and forth throughout all of that. We never land on the one in this chorus. I wish that we didn't have to try so hard. Ooh, and how can this be? We shouldn't have to try so hard. So that's just the whole thing, back and forth. And people ask me a lot, and people I saw asking in the comments, like one thing I take for granted is like when teaching these songs, talking about like my actual playing style, because if you were to just take these notes at face value, sometimes like it wouldn't come out sounding exactly the way I play it. So like I definitely want to make sure to give everyone a sense of like some of the things that I'm just naturally doing and maybe not even talking about. It's a lot of hammer-on notes. So like every time I'm playing this chord, like, and even on like the one chord, like when I'm going from on the one, rolling from the two to the three, we could have done it. Girl, we knew that. It's like I think I do that to a fault almost, and like we end up cutting out some of them after when I record it, and like be like, you got to play that part again and not do so many of that. But like it's all about that kind of like feel, like the sort of also swagger of letting that live a little bit behind the beat, like it's all about like that kind of feel on this. You want it to kind of drag and have this like tension and this energy. Another thing I'm constantly doing is like if I'm on the one chord, I'm going like to the four and back. So like there's the four and there's the one. So I'm constantly like, we could have done it. That's a very like Randy Newman thing. It's all about like oscillating between the one and the four. But anyway, that's just like a little peek under the hood of the kind of little tricks that I'm employing from time to time. But yeah, so we got the chorus. I wish that we didn't have to try so hard. And how can this be? We shouldn't have to try so hard. And then 2, 1. Why do you reckon? Same thing. First under G minor, C, F minor 7. Maybe I need a second to think a little differently. Well, who is it you want me to be? And I wish that same thing, we didn't have to try so hard. And a big thing that we're all about in general and on this song is like breaks on the one. And I can't, having stuff enter on the 2, that's super cool. So like 3, 4. I wish that it just feels really good, and the 2 is where your snare comes in, so it almost makes like the snare the impact. We do that on Shot. Do I have a one? A bum, do, 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 bum. You know what I mean? Like there's so much of that in our music. We shouldn't have to try so hard. Try with me, baby. Can we just? That's kind of just like all on the one. I think the bass is actually going 3, 4, 5. Can we just try? Same chords. Can we just try? Then we do. Can we Same thing, just all the way. Can we just try? Boom. And then, so by that point, it's pretty simple. But then at the end of the song, we go totally nuts with these reharms. I think that like a big thing that I learned, I'm all about dynamics, and Lawrence is all about dynamics, having the songs. New camera angle. I'm all about like, and we and Lawrence, Gracie and I and the whole rest of the band, like I think are on a crusade to try to make the music that you listen to more dynamic. I don't know if it's that we grew up listening to Broadway or, you know, I think that we're really into the drama of like a song that builds. And I think like the Beatles and Stevie Wonder and other bands that we love do that. And a lot of music right now, you can kind of scroll throughout the song and it's at that same level across the board in terms of just the way it sounds. And, you know, so we like to kind of slow play things sometimes and make sure that like the end is just always a journey from the beginning. And I think that like one way to do that I've been familiar with from an early age, and that I think like the Beatles really teach you if you listen to them and study them, is arrangement. Making sure that there's always more instruments that are going to come in, and that the parts on each of those instruments are going to develop. The drummer is going to be going more ham at the end than he was at the beginning, and there's going to be an extra organ that wasn't there at the beginning to kind of elevate it in that way. And then there's other things like Stevie Wonder teaches you that like you actually don't need to have that much arrangement changes. You can just do something a little different in the way that you're presenting it vocally, and that can be really, really cool. And like if you just like sing the crap out of something in a different way than you did the first verse, it'll feel like you've arrived at this new place, even if most of what's going on is the same. And like Randy Newman or maybe Paul Simon might teach you that like if you change those lyrics the last time around just a little bit and have them have a little different meaning, then like you'll feel like you're on a journey even if the whole song is just acoustic guitar or piano. So there's all kinds of different ways that you can put the listener on a journey. But I think that like one thing that we really learned like recently was that a really awesome version of that is like reharmonizing, like having it be that the last time around you're actually going to different chords. That's something really cool. Like shout out to our friends in Brass Tracks. Like I remember when I heard the stuff that Brass Tracks does where they like take, and they're not the only ones doing this, but they're killing it and we love the way that they do it, like taking songs and like either throughout their own version of it or just entirely changing the chords of that song to make it more badass and more gospel-y and more whatever. Like reharmonizing is a super powerful tool that is like a super common thing in all kinds of music, like especially jazz and stuff, but like to apply that to a pop song is in the context of not a remix, but like almost treating the last chorus as like a reharmonized remix of our own song is something that we try to do a lot. So with that spiel said, that's sort of the approach we took to the final chorus of Try, where so we're building and then so very last chorus we're gonna go I can't sing that high. I wish that we. So we're gonna hit every single one of these syllables. So we're gonna do these first two are very similar to the chords we kind of been doing. So C sharp major 7, same chord, and then this same A flat add 9 over C, and then F minor 7, and then to the 2 minor. So really it's the same as what we've been doing, the I wish that we, but instead we're just going to add this passing chord from the 3 through the 6 to the 2. So it's and I wish that we. For any music nerds at home, you know that like if you're going from the 3 to the 2 and you throw the 6 in between, that's just like circle of fourths. That's the obvious move. I wish that we didn't have to try so hard. And then we got this little organ fill. Can't this be? Same thing. Those are the same chords. Didn't have to try so hard. And but now we get into the really funky stuff. So we're on this C chord that we're kind of treating as this like the A flat add 9 over C that we know and love from the rest of the song. We move to this non-diatonic note, this E, and then that's when you as the listener are like, oh man, something totally different's about to happen. So and this E leads you perfectly to where we're gonna land, which is our first true reharm, but you gotta make sure the melody still works. I played the wrong chord. So we go F minor 7, then A flat over G flat. A flat over G flat. So it's the same chord in the right hand, but it walks up here, and then to A diminished to the 2 minor. We're all about these kinds of walk-ups, like we do a ton of that, so this is kind of a version of that. I wish that and then same chord, so the rest of it didn't have to try so hard. And then this walk-up, that's just and then so now we do a different one. Now E augmented, E flat 7, D half diminished, C, and then we're back to our same thing. So dum bum ba ba bum 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 bum. I wish that and then so then we're gonna go through this A flat had 9 over C to the F minor 7, and then it's kind of these breaks, and we do which is the 2 minor 7, B flat minor 7, then that same A flat add 9 over C. I told you that I was gonna go do it all the time. Then C sharp major 7, and then D half diminished 4 over 5, which is a classic Lawrence / soul walk up. And it ain't worth the pain just to watch it all wash away. What was the other song that we did that in the other day? Oh, Probably Up. I'm probably up. So anyway, that's the whole tune. I'm gonna play this whole last bit so you can see me put it together. But this is like probably harmonically the most dense section of maybe any Lawrence song. So 3, 4, and all these hits are on B2. 3, 4, bass slide. I wish that we didn't have to try so hard. I need Gracie here to sing the high part. Drum fill. How can this be? So those two are the same. They're cool, but they're a little vanilla. And now we get to the juicy stuff. We didn't have to try so hard. How can this be? Shouldn't have to try so hard. Try with me, baby. And then the end is just that, all the way out. And then the try reprise is just the same thing. And I say, whatever you want me to do. And then it eventually goes every once in a while, whoever you want me to be. That's the whole thing. And that's try / the try reprise. I see somebody just asked, this is so good, any interest in producing some songs? Well, I'm definitely down to give some people some tips on how we produce this song and all of these songs, we actually are like working on a tool that we're really excited about, that is going to let you, the same way that this shows you the chords, a tool that's going to let you kind of see the production behind the scenes in a really cool way. So once we get that up and running, we'll do some more tutorials on that, and you'll have just as much of a sense of what went down in the recording process as much as the songwriting process. But basically, that's Try. It's a song that we are very proud of, and it's a song that I feel like when we were writing it, we were like, oh, this is kind of the direction where we want to take this new album. It was a really formative...
One of the first ones you wrote.
One of the first ones
really
that we wrote.
Defined the sound of the rest of the album.
Exactly. Linus knows. He was there.
Yeah.
We were in the living room writing it. And this was definitely the one where we were like, ooh, this is the kind of thing we want to like tap into a little more than the last record. So that's pretty much it. Let me know if I missed anything there, or if you need a clarification on any of those chords. Linus, do we have any particularly good questions from the people at home?
Let's see. We don't really have that many questions, actually. A lot of positive things. People just saying that how did you learn piano?
A lot of listening to good music, a lot of just like playing by ear and figuring stuff out, and like a really careful mix of like, I'd say like education and like self-directed wandering. Like, shout out to an amazing music teacher named Nick Scarum, who helped give me what I would say is something of like an unorthodox musical education. It was like really tailored to my interest, and like he pushed me just enough to like say, hey, you got to work on how you're, fingering that riff, or voicing, or your technique or reading skills, but also was amazing about like letting me kind of go off on my own tangents. A lot of it was just like treating it as a language that you're learning alongside, English or whatever language you're learning in elementary school or middle school. It's like just diving in. I know that's probably an annoying answer, but that was really my experience with it. I don't have a ton. I probably have another I've got a little bit more time.
Someone just said want to do some tips on the last song.
Ooh. Well, what do we think? What do you think, Linus? What do you want to hear next? We've gotten a lot of requests for... That's the last song request. We'll get to that.
Did we do Heartburn last time?
We did do Heartburn last time. We've
A
gotten some Whoever You
A
Are.
request for almost... So far, over the course of this entire thing, we've had an almost grown a Whoever You Are in a last song.
Well, you pick. Linus is the...
Wow. Oh, man. I think we gotta do Whoever You Are.
Cool. All right. Whoever You Are it is. So Whoever You Are is in the key of E flat.
Do you want to take one more question before you...
Sure, if you got a good question.
Which came first, chords and arrangement or melody and lyrics?
I actually answered this in the last tutorial. I think that what comes first is always like, I never write all the lyrics or like all the melody. It's always like very chord driven, and I'll get like a little bit of an idea. So like I think that like I just loved the idea of having a song that just like oscillated back and forth between chords that none of them are the one. So like we're in the key of A flat for Try, and I just loved the idea of just like going back and forth between these. It felt really soulful. I remember seeing Corey Henry from Snarky Puppy, a fantastic, I'm sure that most of you guys are familiar with him. He actually played a little bit on our first album, Breakfast. He's like the best keyboard player out there. And I remember going to one of his shows, and he had like an extended jam on a song that was just like grooving on, I don't know if it was those chords or just like something that felt like that, where it was like just suspended on this like cloud, and I was like, that is so cool. Our music is so like centered around the one, if we're in A flat, we're gonna be going to A flat all the time, and I was like really inspired by how it felt. to like not go to the A flat. So that was kind of the impetus for the song. And then so I was just kind of grooving on that, and I kind of came up with this melody line. Try's a weird one because like I'm a big believer that like the melody should really be obvious, even if there's like a bunch of harmonies. What the melody is should be like so obvious, like unquestionable. And to me, in Try, Gracie and I are kind of both singing different melody. I'm going, I wish that we didn't, and she's going, I wish that we, and I think ultimately hers emerges as the melody, but like in the mixing process, we kept them like super equal 50-50. Which is like kind of goes against a lot of my songwriting principles, where we're almost trying to like make you not exactly know who you're supposed to be listening to, but it just felt like a cool opportunity to have a little bit of like a choose your own adventure there from a listening standpoint. So that's sort of where we started on Try. All right, so let's do Whoever You Are. Oh, dude, someone from the Oddfellas just commented. Yo, I've got this right here. It's just been hanging out on my desk. Shout out to the Oddfellas. All right, so here we go. Whoever You Are. This is just like the most classic, simple, descending major bass line thing with a couple little tricks thrown in for good measure. But so the chords, to uncomplicate things, is our dad just commented. E flat major, then like this is that same kind of chord as the other one. It's like a B flat add 9 over D. Clearly I'm really into this kind of chord. It's super fourthsy, and I'm obsessed with fourths. It's basically just a circle of fourths without this one. It's the same as the kind of chord we were just doing last time, but C minor 7. A lot of people that I've been seeing putting covers of this song up on Instagram or whatever, everyone's like totally nailing it, except a lot of people go for the 5 chord here. People think that the chord over the B flat is like a B flat chord, but what it is it's just going back to the E flat major 7 over B flat. So do 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 do, boom, ba da dum, and then A flat major, and then E flat over G, F minor 7, so that's a super Randy Newman-y thing to do, like the sus of the 5 and then give you the 5. It's very like storybook. Overall, I was just trying to do a total like Randy Newman thing on this, and then obviously production-wise, we took it in a pretty different direction than that. But yeah, it's pretty much just all the way down. Oh, you know what? I also just messed that up. It doesn't go to the 2 minor. It just goes back up to the 4. I think. I'd have to go back and check. And yeah, the only thing that's different about it is like when it's on the 5 and when it's on the 3, it's on the 1 chord again in the right hand. Other than that, it's just classic descending, Pachelbel's Canon, any other song you want to mash up with it. Sunday Candy, Wait for the Moment. Would I even know something of meaning was there for me? Or would I just go along, writing a song about all my other priorities? And then passing chord through the E diminished. And I. This is just a walk up all the way to the 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 minor. Remember the chord I'm obsessed with? E flat, add 9 over G. I'm not in a hurry, but you. There's the 4. I like to add the 9 to the 4. You making me worry. That's the 5 sus. And then back to the same thing. I'll be waiting for you, whoever you are. And stylistically, I'm just doing very like flowery. Oh, and over the 5, I'll do like some of this. add the G and then like. But overall playing style, I don't really know how to break it down, but it's very just like Elton John, like stuff I grew up listening to, where like they're kind of then folds. It's almost like playing drums with your hands. So that bit I gotta go over. What?
I've never been able to figure that part out.
Yeah, Linus, by the way, for all of you at home, is a fucking... Oh, wow, I shouldn't have cursed. Linus is a badass musician. Totally knows all the chords. And he is fantastic. That bit, which he said is the one bit that he can't figure out, is C minor 7. So we were there, and then our next chord would have been E flat, major 7 over B flat to the A flat. But we're going to do a little something special, which is C minor 7, B minor 7, B flat minor 7, and then E flat 7, and I go. Then to the 4. So instead of, it's, which is the same thing that we do in like more. Like, there will be more, and many more, and many, many more. It's like the same exact thing. You're basically doing a 2-5-1 to the 4, if that means anything to anyone. But including this really cool passing chord of the full sharp 5 minor 7. So, going over that again, chorus. I'll be waiting for you, wherever you are, wherever you are, and I'll be waiting for you. C minor 7, B minor 7, B flat minor 7, E flat 7, and then same thing, wherever you are, and then the second verse is exactly the same, so we'll switch to the really, really crazy part, which is when we go to this Melodica Solo. Keep your eye on the ball here, kid. So yeah, we're gonna go from this 5 sus all the way to a D flat sus. Very powerful chord, the sus chord. So what I mean by that is we're kind of playing, sus is kind of an elusive term that can mean like 10 different things. The context that I use it, I usually mean you're playing the major chord or even the major 7 chord of the chord a full step down from your root note. So like when I say I'm playing a 5 sus, I mean I'm playing the triad or major 7 chord of the 4 over the 5 chord. So like in this case, we're in E flat. We got D flat, but we're doing a B major 7 over it. It's very like Marvin Gaye, What's Going On interlude vibes. In fact, that's totally where I ripped it off from. So the changes here, same exact motion, up a 4th. So now we're at F sharp sus. So now we're actually dropping the sus thing, and it's B major 9. And a lot of people on the covers I've seen have gotten this next one a little wrong. This is a tricky one. It's the same chord that people got wrong before. It's when we go to the 5, we're actually going to the 1 chord over the 5. But it feels back to the E flat over B flat. But it feels so new because it's like, oh man, we're about to arrive home, aren't we? That's sort of the vibe of it. So then to the like F minor over B flat, which is really just like a sus chord. So like, So that's ba, ba. Same thing, just going back and forth. E flat, F minor, E flat, and then passing chord through the E. So that whole section is. So that last chord, which really gets you because it like kicks you back into the gear of where we were in the song. That same E diminished chord that was the passing chord to the pre-choruses before. And just so that you have it, I'll play the solo in case anyone wants to learn it that hasn't. It's one more time. So, that's like a. Alright, so now back into pre-chorus vibes. I'm not in a hurry. Same pre-chorus thing. You. But then instead of going to the 5 chord, we're going to do 6 minor, B flat over D, E flat major, and then turn it back around through that same E diminished. So, you're making me worry, baby, so why? F minor 7. And then this is a really fun one. Oh, do I? G half diminished. That's like C7 flat 9. F9. Do 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 do. And then that same B flat sus to B flat 7. So the whole bridge is F minor, E flat, add 9 over G, A flat, C minor, B flat over D, E flat, E diminished, F minor, and then G half diminished, C7 flat 9, F9, B flat sus, B flat 7, and then it's just the same thing out. Some nice harmonies. And then there's like a cool synth line that goes like that's the synth line, and then against that the horns are going or something like that. So together it's like it's like a whole hockening thing, and that's the whole song. So that's Whoever You Are. I probably gotta stop. So that's all we're gonna get through. I can take like a question or two if there was anything that came up. Linus, do you have any questions or insights to add?
I want to talk about what this song is about.
Sure, that's a good.
This is lyrically, I think, probably the most interesting on the album.
Thank you. Well, that's interesting to hear that from you. I think that Whoever You Are. I think that there's a lot of songs out there that are about finding the one, and that's like a really like cliched concept, or like having a specific person that you are really, really after, or being so torn up about a breakup. A lot of these tropes in love songwriting are very like black and white in terms of what they mean to the listener. And what they mean to the singer and the narrator. It's very like, this is how I feel about this. I want to be with this person, and it's obvious to me. There's not a lot of like ambiguity or gray areas in that, and we try to mess with that as much as we can. And Whoever You Are is a song about, sure, there's songs about meeting the person you're supposed to be with, like, and not knowing maybe who they are, but this is a song specifically about, like, I just don't even have a vision for, I'm writing a love song to this faceless, nameless person, and, like, who's to say that when I meet them, that, like, I'll even be like, oh, you're my person, this is, who knows that you'll be in the state of mind or having the kind of day where you can even, like, capture that correctly. You know, like, the way it's romanticized in other songs about, like, meeting the one, it's like you assume that someone's gonna walk down the street with a sign saying, I'm the one, and then you're gonna mentally prepare yourself and, like, be the one for them. But, like, what if you're having a crappy day? What if you are distracted by something else? It's a song about the idea that, like, if you believe in that kind of thing, that there is a one, who's to even say that you're gonna have it within yourself to, like, make it work with them? And it's kind of a depressing concept, but it's also kind of a cool, it's like an optimistic concept that's reminding you to say, hey, you know, whether it's your demons from the past or the other things that are distracting you, don't let anything get in the way of, like, making a connection with someone, whether that be a friendship or a romantic one or whatever it is. It's kind of like a reminder to, like, keep your head up and, like, open yourself up to anything. So that's kind of what the song is about. And I think, like, in writing it, we knew that we had a super, like, happy, almost like Disney-ish feeling melody and chords on our hands, and we wanted to undercut that with as much of, like, a melancholy or sensitive lyric as we could. And in the production, we were kind of straddling the line between wanting to make something that felt super happy and upbeat and crispy in that way, and something that felt sort of sweet and melancholy in, like, a Jackson 5 I'll Be There kind of way, and just figuring out where we wanted to land on that spectrum. This was one of the songs that took the most work, even though it's so simple, to actually figure out tonally where we wanted to live with it on the recording.
Yeah, so one person did have a question.
Alright, last question.
Right. What is the clothing hanger for on the lamp?
You know, sometimes you gotta just hang some clothes on the lamp. It's a good question. This lamp doesn't even work. Both of the bulbs are out. I haven't been here in a long time. I've been on tour for quite a while.
Also, Andrew says to watch for the Oddfellows covering a Lawrence song soon.
Oh, sweet. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you guys all for doing the covers. Like, whenever someone sends them our way or they make it onto our feed, we always watch them, and it's a ton of fun. And hopefully these videos allow you to make them. Not that the chords people were doing were so bad or anything, but hopefully this helps anyone who wanted to do a super accurate rendition do that. So thank you guys so much. It means the world that there are people out there that actually care enough to, like, know not only what the songs are about, but even, like, want to know how to actually play them is, like, the coolest thing in the world, since, as Linus can attest to, these are songs that Gracie and I literally wrote in our family's living room. And that's, you know, where it could have ended, and the fact that you're playing them in yours is, like, the coolest thing. So thank you guys. Signing off. We'll be heading to Europe tomorrow, sending you tons of content from there. But when we get back, we'll do the rest of the songs that we haven't hit from here, and look out for chord charts and all kinds of other helpful materials. Peace out. Linus, any parting words?
Thank you for watching.
What are you going to miss least about me?
What am I going to miss least about you? Our disagreements on what we want to get for lunch.
There you go.